Also, minority in Parliament asked President Akufo-Addo to arrest CEO of Lamens Africa, the company at the center of the repackaging and distribution of expired rice to senior high schools as the NDC MPs vow not to rest till justice is served. We've got this plus details in this bulletin. And on the campaign trail, NPP's presidential candidate, Dr. Mohamed Dubawumia, vows to tackle housing deficits, promising to construct housing units in every district of the country. John Mahama takes his campaign to President Akufo-Addo's home region, the Eastern region, and his hometown, Chibi, later today, hours after ending the last phase of his Northern Regional Tour. Please stay for details as we've got these, plus business news, sports news, and world news in this package. First of the minority in Parliament is asking President Akufo-Addo to arrest the CEO of Lamens Africa, the company at the center of repackaging and distribution of expired rice to senior high schools. Member of Parliament for North Town Samuel Okujeto has bemoaned the president's silence on the matter, which has gained attention in the past few days. He also urged the president to, as a matter of urgency, call for investigation and sanctioning of the Board of National Food Buffer Stock and other persons implicated in the distribution of the expired rice. Now I'll go to my colleague Kenneth Jesse to bring us updates. Hi Kenneth, good afternoon, and please bring me more details.
Good afternoon, Emma. So on the part of Lamens Africa, the minority success wants the directors at the company to be arrested because they say their actions put the lives of millions of students in danger. They explain that although the expired rice was distributed this year, it took them months to finish consuming the rice, which they say doctors have described as being bad for human consumption. And on the part of the National Food Buffer Stock, they want them sanctioned for allowing their current facilities to be used for the repackaging of the expired rice and also for operating and registered storage facilities. And of course, they also accused the Ministry of Education to be accomplices in all of these things that have happened.
Kenneth, your line is not very clear, but if you can hear me, did they touch on the fact that this really does not lie in the bosom of the president, as the FDA already started some investigation, and they have also been fined, something that we've been learning as of last week? Did they touch on that anyway?
Well, not really, but what they say is that they are shocked by the president's seeming lack of, voicing anything on it. The president and the vice president have all not said anything. So they are shocked at their silence on the issue as it borders on millions of school-going children who are in second cycle. That's what it is.
All right. Thank you so much, Kenneth Jesse. We'll bring you details a bit later in our subsequent bulletin. But moving away from that, the Teachers and Educational Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress is on strike. Now, TEU is protesting government's failure to address delays in concluding, signing, and implementing revised conditions of services for workers under the Ghana Education Service, Ghana Library Authority, Public Technical and Traditional Universities. Now, we've got Chairperson of TEU, TUC, Salamatu Mahama Brahima, joins us live. Good afternoon, ma'am. And I'm wondering if you have seen the notice by the NLC that you hold on and have a certain engagement with them on Wednesday. Have you seen that at all?
Yes, good afternoon, my dear, and to your listeners. We saw the letter this morning, by which time we had already issued our release, our press release. And you know that in matters like this, you go through a process before you declare. And so we need to go through the same process to suspend. And so we intend having some meetings with the bodies that matter so that we can suspend it before we meet with the Labor Commission.
And so you say that the process will be the meeting with all of the people or the stakeholders that matter. Is that the process?
Exactly so.
Okay, so as of now till Wednesday, when you're able to meet the NLC, are you still striking?
We cannot tell because you see, as unionists, strike is always our last resort. Okay, we don't take pleasure in embarking on strike, but it is normally when we don't get the attention of governments, that is where we resort to strike actions. And so if we meet the National Labour Commission and we are able to get the fair wages and our managements to the negotiation table, definitely we'll have to suspend and see the way forward.
Does it matter at all that you're getting to the negotiating table with the NLC, or you're going to be asking for specific things as we know already? What will be the minimum and the most that will not let you strike?
What we are expecting is that the NLC will instruct fair wages and our management to get a mandate from government and sit with us.
Okay.
Because we can't continue to work with expired conditions of service. In the case of the technical universities and the public universities, the conditions of service expired since 2008, and we've not been able to review. So we've been operating on expired conditions of service. In the case of Ghana Education Service, it's expired for the past 2 years. Our members are on us, as if leadership is not doing anything. Meanwhile, we have written series of letters to our various management and fair wages as well, but they have failed to meet us, you know. So for us, what we want is for them to invite us to the negotiation table, and once that is done, and then we finish and we sign our conditions of service, then we are good to go.
Well, finally, before
embarking on strike.
Finally, before I let you go, except you are also quite uncertain whether between today, Monday, to the 20th of November, that the NLC is asking for a negotiation, you don't know whether your unions are going on strike or not, because these are different unions put together.
Currently, as we speak, TEU is on strike.
Okay.
You saw our press release giving them up to the 18th. And today is 18th.
Yes.
Is today not 18th?
Yes, it is.
Yes, today is 18th. And like I said earlier, we received the NLC letter just today. Maybe they delivered it on Friday when my general secretary was not in office. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday were weekends, so we don't work on weekends. So we saw the letter this morning, and it is difficult to call off the strike now because we need to meet with stakeholders before we can actually suspend the strike.
Okay.
And so from now, we are working, maybe from now up to Wednesday, when we will meet the Labour Commission, we'll see what happens. But for now, we are on strike. TEU Public University, TEU Technical University, TEU Library Authority, TEU Museums, and TEU GES, Ghana Education Service, is on strike.
Okay. Thank you for talking to us. I'm certain that by 20th of this month, we'll also still get in touch with you for more details. Thank you, Madam Brima, for talking to us. Now, that's the update on the TEU TUC that have declared strike starting today. But the update, however, is that the NLC has called for a negotiation meeting with them on the 20th of this month, which we look forward to coming Wednesday. Now let's hit the campaign trail next as Agbogbo Mafia of the Asogli State, Togbi Afeather, the 14th, is urging the Electoral Commission to ensure free and fair polls. Now he emphasized that guaranteeing a level of playing field will not only bolster the country's democracy credentials and preserve national peace, but also prevent any political party from disputing the results. Togbi Afeather has been speaking on the sidelines of the 9th congregation of Ensign Global College in Kpong Eastern Region.
Unfortunate that, as the former Chief Justice said, judiciary has become very predictable. It's unfortunate, and some of the decisions that emanate from the judiciary have not been very inspiring. We want a judiciary that we all know exists to protect all of us, ensure freedoms, ensure fair justice delivery. But happenings recently have given us cause for concern. Sometimes some of the way things, the laws are interpreted just defy logic. You see it written black and white, can understand the English, but then it's given other interpretations that do not help to strengthen our democracy, strengthen rights and freedoms and justice.
A presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has pledged to tackle the country's housing deficit, promising to construct housing units in every district if elected as president. Speaking during a campaign at Drobonso in the Setra Franklins constituency of the Ashanti region, Dr. Bawumia indicated his administration will prioritize the construction of affordable housing units to address the country's housing shortage.
Mbemunu etiminye ichuma aye adhishe medeba the dekan aye housing policy ushe amaya adaya accommodation ne housing and some edijuma bebre eba usi adaya masons wo carpenters were electricians were plumbers.
Housing comes with cost and creates a lot of jobs, just like it is done in Singapore. We are coming to construct houses across all districts, and just as Nana said, we will do it and create jobs for the people.
Social as well as affordable housing schemes across all the districts. A manifesto. Nana Aboso already said Mohia affordable housing because housing niha professionals are motivated transfer mahano umumba enti na yebe yesa no abdi ejuma beba.
Nanaya Bwachiyadom is with the NPP presidential candidate and joins us. Nanaya, good afternoon. How many days left and what has the vice president been saying? Hi, Nanayao. Hi, I'm sorry that we lost Nana Bwache, but we'll definitely try and reconnect him and then get to know how many days the vice president is still got to tour in the Ashanti region. But meanwhile, the NPP continues to express optimism about holding on to power after the December 7 election. The party believes concerns raised by some electors about the hardship they face will not be the deciding factor at the polls. Chairman of the NPP Electoral Committee campaign, Peter McMenu, believed the good policies being promised by Dr. Bawumia will garner more votes for the party.
If anybody tells you that he's paying so much for free SHS, so it's expensive, I would say it is not the truth. That is why last week, I walked to the teachers' hall to see parents who wanted to change their school, who wanted to get boardings as against they. Go and see the numbers. I was marveled. If people don't want it, why was the place so overcrowded? Hannah, I went there myself. Go and ask my secretary. I took her along. Because me, I want to seeing, they say, is believing. So if Joy FM goes out to interview people, I don't know, I haven't seen the interview, but I'm telling you what I have seen with my own naked eyes at the teachers' hall. And even today, if you go there, you will see what's happening there. The crowd, are you telling me these crowd, they don't have anything to do and they waste their time to come to teachers' hall? Okay, so when people say things like the dollar was 4 cedis 20 pesos and it's now 70, I laugh. Because 4 cedis 20 pesos, were they able to buy chalk? Were they able to pay salaries of teachers? Some teachers have not been paid for years. What was the size of the economy? And what is it now? So you want to use the dollar as the only yardstick for measuring an economy? That is not true. It cannot be. It cannot be. It cannot be at all.
Onto the camp of the NDC. Presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has promised to address critical infrastructure needs in Kabia in the Mion constituency if elected in the 2024 elections. Now, speaking during the final phase of his tour of the northern region, he expressed worry over what he says is the neglect of the community over the past 8 years, citing the lack of good roads, healthcare facilities, potable water, and telecommunication services.
And we decided to do the rally here in Kabia because it is one of the deprived parts of the Mion constituency. You yourself, you notice the road on which we came, and that is one of their major problems. They also have problems with telecommunications network, they have problems with water, and they have problems with health facilities. And so these are the felt needs of the people. They've been denied all these for the last 8 years. Everything you see here, including the electricity and everything, was done during NDC's era. In the last 8 years, nothing has been done here. And so it's NDC that is going to come and bring development back to this place. Our number one priority will be to fix the road so that we can have easy access to the place. The next will be to get them a good health facility so that they don't have to go all the way to Yendi to look for treatment. And then also provide them with water, clean drinking water, instead of going all the way to Yendi for treatment. And so there's a lot that we must do here. NDC, government, then Kanama, Kana.
Still with the NDC, John Dramani Mahama continues his tour, his campaign tour, with a visit to the eastern region, which is also the home region of the President Akufo Addo. He's expected to address supporters in Chebi, the president's hometown, later today, following the conclusion of the last phase of his tour of the northern region some hours ago. Maxwell Agbagba joins us with more. Maxwell, good afternoon. Has John Mahama arrived yet, and what can you report?
Yes, John Mahama just left the Nsawam Agro constituency. He just arrived here in the Ayenswano constituency. Now, in the Nsawam Agro constituency, key among the things that he talked about was of I think struck by the pump he said great structural pump so right
Maxwell, are you able to position yourself quite well so that I can hear you?
Is it okay now?
Let's try it again. Yes. You mentioned that he's arrived and go on.
Yeah, so he's been talking about creating industrialized zones, industrialized enclaves from Nsawam to Suhum if the NDC is elected. He believes that if this happens, it will create more jobs for a big number of years. Here's what I'm talking about. He said they always everybody.
Oh, Maxwell, I'll try and raise you a bit later on election brief for you to bring us details. But election headquarters is brought to you in association with Petroleum Platinum Energy energizing dreams. Chobox, a convenient service. German Ozone, alternative therapy, dental, wellness and beauty. SIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, and also together with the Association of the International Certified Professional Accountants. Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development. Syntax Tanks, a strong, a tough. Potential Real Estate, your trusted partner in real estate, and also Deluxe Paint, Paint Champion. Now let's go back to the story on the expired rice and Lamens Africa, where the minority is asking President Akufo-Addo to arrest the CEO of Lamens Africa, the company at the center of the repackaging and distribution of expired rice to senior high schools. Now, earlier we brought you that report where Parliament, not Member of Parliament, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has bemoaned the president's silence on the matter, which has garnered attention the past few days. He's also been urging the president really to arrest the CEO and also the board chair for buffer stock. Let's talk to the public relations officer for the Ministry of Education, Kwesi Kwarteng. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. Did you follow the request by the minority in Parliament?
Come again?
Did you follow the request by the minority in Parliament asking the president to arrest the CEO of Lamens, CEO and also the board chair for the buffer stock?
Mr. Ablakwa is asking the president to arrest the CEO of buffer stock and the Lamens CEO. Is that how you ask?
So he's asking that the CEO for Lamens Africa be arrested and then for the buffer stock should be investigated. Have you heard? And what will be your reaction?
I mean, it's within his right to make such calls. And of course, there are state institutions that are responsible for effecting arrest. The fact that you are being arrested, there are also laid down procedures for you to go to make a determination whether or not the allegations or charges that have been leveled against you can be sustained. So, I mean, that is a question that I'm not sure is within my domain to answer. For us in the Ministry of Education, looking at the holistic perspective of everything that is going on, our biggest concern was, first of all, to investigate or find out whether the food that was sent to the schools were wholesome. And we spoke to FDA, that is the agency responsible for making such determination, and they said they went through their own processes and declared the food wholesome. And for us, that is what is intriguing for us and makes us excited as a ministry, that yes, there could be some administrative lapse elsewhere. There could be some, in terms of the supply of food, something could have been done at our bland side. But when we verified that the food was wholesome and that the safety and health of our students were protected, we believe that that is the most important thing for us to address or discuss. And for us, we are very satisfied when we heard that FDA made such declaration. As to whether or not a person or who ought to be arrested, there are agencies and institutions that are responsible for that, except to say that if we are making such a call in good faith, Mr. Ablakwa knows where he has to channel it. You don't call for arrest on media forums. You call for arrest when you make a visit to the police station or you make a visit to the IGP. And it questions, I mean, the true motive and intent of this whole call. And people have even suspecting some form of dramatization to it. Nobody is saying that you should not demand accountability. Nobody is saying that you should not expose state institutions when they do something wrong. I mean, when even he first made the first call, we welcomed it and even initiated process to find out or investigate what happened.
Well,
but
so
it appears he's disappointed that FDA. Let me land? I'm just landing. It appears Mr. Ablakwa is disappointed that FDA came out to confirm that the food were declared wholesome as when the supplies were made.
What then did the FDA fine Lamens for? Has the ministry been curious to ask?
You see, I always waive the invitation to go into the substantive matter. But you see, sometimes let's be even in our endeavor or our quest to demand accountability and make sure that state institutions really live up to expectations. We must also be very mindful not to turn out the truth. For the record, Lamens was fined for not getting authorization for the repackaging of the food. It has nothing to do with the declaration of the wholesomeness of the food. I mean, for avoidance of that, I kept the whole documents, FDA, Lamens, all the correspondence on my Facebook page. It's for the public review. Even beyond that, you may speak to FDA, you may speak to Buffer Stock, you may even speak to all the relevant institutions. I am saying that, yes, I mean, Mr. Ablakwa may have legitimate concerns, but so far as the concerns has been addressed, and he feels disappointed and he's still dramatizing the situation, I feel that he's just on a journey of, creating, some form of needless alarm.
Well, the clarity was not for him. The clarity was for us who read the document, both on your social media page, and just wanted a bit more clarity on what exactly the FDA had fined Lamens Investments for. But thank you for bringing clarity. So they were not fined for unwholesome of the food. They were fined for what? Not seeking...
They were fined for not getting approval for the repackaging. FDA was of the view that since we've extended the best before date, you have to carry that document and attach to anywhere you sell some of the product.
Okay.
And Lamens were of the view that, to prevent instances of media backlash and where people may not understand even that best before date can be extended and all what may come with, they felt that within that, their thinking, they felt that it was right for them to repackage. And FDA did not grant that approval. Even though they had written a letter to the FDA had not approved it. So they went ahead to do the repackaging, and then they were fined for that. Who will fine an agency for just 100,000 for supplying 222,000 unwholesome bags of unwholesome meat? Who will do that?
Okay.
No act of criminality. And who even in the Ministry of Education will supervise that?
Okay.
That the Minister for Education will sit there and say that 22,000 bags of rice should be distributed to schools across Ghana, and they are unwholesome, and will sit there and clap over it.
Well, again, I know this may not fall under your prerogative, but help me understand just something quickly. And so is it the FDA that approves for repackaging or to be sure that the food is wholesome? Is it the FDA that will check it? Because from the document that I read, it seems to be as though the rice was returned back to India, the home of where the food was imported from, to check whether the food was still wholesome. Please just give us a bit of education to be sure what I read was correct.
What happened is that the company, Lamens, had written to FDA for an extension of date for the best before date. Originally, the best before date was 2023 December. Okay. And so they had applied for extension, for 1 year extension of the best before date. And FDA was of the view that they are unable to make that determination until the food has been tested. So they gave certain variables, just like when you go to hospital and the doctor asks you to go and do, let's say, a hepatitis test or, let's say, urine test or any other test. So go and do this test. Based on the outcome of the test, we will be able to make a determination whether this product is still wholesome for consumption. So such a test, obviously, per the FDA protocols, has to be done in the manufacturer's country where the product was manufactured or where the product came from. In this case, or within this context, the product came from India. So they have to go through India, go through all their existing protocols, take samples, get it tested, and then get the testing results to FDA. FDA would then use their own internal protocols. Of course, I'm not an FDA person, so I am not aware of all their internal protocols. But at the end of the day, FDA will do a review of the test, evaluate, and make some necessary verification as it tallies with their own internal protocols before they are able to determine whether the food is wholesome or not. Okay. After that determination, FDA then extended it up to April 2024. So FDA did not fine Lamens for unwholesome food. Okay. The date, apparently, the best before date had apparently been extended. But what they were fined for was the
unauthorization.
The fact that they didn't get approval for the repackaging.
Okay, thank you for that clarity. Let's come back to the Ministry of Education. So we're hearing that there's some activities happening. Please walk us through.
You said you are hearing?
Let's come to your ministry. That this week, National Education Week happening.
Yes. National Education Week is happening live. Even as of now, I'm at the venue Today we had a lunch. It's a 5-day event. Is the biggest program of the Ministry of Education. The Chief of Staff and the Minister for Education, Dr. Duchum, they are all here and they just launched the program. The whole idea about the National Education Week is to give account and take a stock of our activities in the year, our policies in the year, bring all stakeholders together, and then discuss how the policies has impacted, where there are necessary adjustments and reviews going forward. All those things, we have a discussion upon them, and then we are able to make an informed decision in subsequent years.
Okay.
So yes, it's currently ongoing. Today, like I indicated, the Chief of Staff, the Minister for Education, and all other stakeholders within the education space, they are all here to do the activity, undertake the activity.
We've also heard that about 80 infrastructure will be commissioned by Thursday. Is it part of the Education Week that you're celebrating?
Yes, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all part of the National Education Week. At the end of the day, we believe that, of course, there is a strong correlation between education and socioeconomic transformation, not just any other education, but quality education. And you cannot give a quality education when you do not have the needed infrastructure. So yes, we've been building a lot of infrastructure, but this time around, we are commissioning, embarking on a very historic commissioning. Thursday, the President, the Vice President, the Minister for Education will lead the commissioning of 80 projects that will be commissioned simultaneously for the good people of Ghana. Of course, it's in alignment with the government's commitment to make sure that we provide access to education to every Ghanaian, irrespective of the location or where the person is coming from.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Kwesi
I'm
Kwati
grateful.
speaks for the Ministry of Education. You're watching JoyNews Today. I'll be back shortly with business.
Welcome back to Business on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. As part of measures to improve on TVET education and research, the United States, through the U.S. Agency for International Development, has invested over 1.9 million Ghana cedis to support. According to the Eastern Regional Director for the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Ivy Owusu, the investment is key to bridge the academia-industry gap. She spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the National Reading Festival in Accra.
We all know that the basic foundation that the child can leverage on is reading and understanding, so that whatever the child reads, the child should be able to understand, so that he or she can apply in all the subject areas that he or she is doing. So if the child is not able to read and understand well, then it means the foundation is a bit weak. So this is the second National Reading Festival that we're having for Basic 1, 2, and 3. That's every region is being represented with 3 lower primary kids. All that we want to do, that we want them to build on their reading skills. We want them to pick up vocabularies. We want them to apply what they are reading. If you look at this year's theme, it's Reading Treasures, Uncovering Hidden Riches. We have a saying that we don't like reading books, and there are a lot of things in the books. When you read, it affects your state of mind. That is your thinking, how you can think logically. When you read also, you get to know, it broadens your horizon. You get to know what others are also doing, what is happening elsewhere, and also add more vocabulary so that you can speak fluently. It helps the students also to have confidence and do public speaking.
Now, the Petroleum Commission has hinted at considerations to reduce Ghana's 15% participation interest in oil explorations. Ghana faces the risk of losing investment in the capital-intensive sector to other countries. Chief Executive of the Petroleum Commission, Ebert Fabile, believes that reforming the current laws will make the country more competitive. He spoke at the launch of the Africa Oil Week conference here in Accra.
When it comes to investment, there are certain considerations that you need to take. You know, Achem is a producing mine. We have the valuation of Achem as it is right now. There are certain parts of the Achem transaction that we sort of disagree with when it comes to valuation. Those are conversations that we're having. But you must also know that with the Namdini or Cardinal, they started really from Greenfield. Sometimes, you need to take into consideration the risk at that point, and how the company is even being valued, etc. But at the point, like I mentioned, we couldn't go in that early point because MIF was not on its legs. Now, with the new valuation coming out from Namdini and it starting production, we need to sit back and really assess. But it doesn't mean that we are not going to look at Namdini. You see, with Achem, it was important, or it is important, because the president really wanted significant Ghanaian interest in the Achem mine, it being a producing mine. Unfortunately, even though we supported significant Ghanaian interest at that time, that Ghanaian interest was outbid completely by the Chinese, But we're still working to make sure that that directive or desire still comes to fruition, but we need to look at it from a point of view, from an investment point of view, where we also need to look at the returns, etc., whether we are buying into something that is overvalued or not, and that's the work that Bobune and his team are working on. So at the right time, that announcement will come, and at the right time too, you hear on the Namdini, our position on the Namdini.
That'll be all for business. My name is Winston Taki. We are sports and entertainment news after this. Stay tuned.
Time now to bring you sports here on JoyNews Today with me, Muftao Nabila Abdullah, a management committee member of the Black Stars. Akwesi Ajiman says that this is not the right time to sack Otto Addo as head coach of the Black Stars. Otto Addo, despite supervising Ghana's failure to secure AFCON qualification for the first time in 21 years, and also becoming the first coach of the Black Stars to lose at the Royal Sports Stadium in 24 years, Akwesi Ajiman insists Otto Addo should be given more time to build the Black Stars. He was speaking on Daybreak Case with Andy Dusty.
A lot of people are calling for Otto Addo's sack, although he's left and back. And even yesterday in the press conference, he's saying that people are just talking. What was the statement? We were talking blah 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 blah, and that our opinions don't matter. A lot of people think that the statements were a bit arrogant. And for someone who's working closely with them, and again, as a committee member, which does not really exist, what's your take on this? Do you think it must be maintained?
Over the last few years, we've had how many coaches? We had Kwesi Appiah come and go, Milo, CK, and then Otto phase 1 and Otto phase 2. And I believe speaking to the FA president and executive committee, their plan was that we should have a long-term plan, a long-term build-up. So they felt that they needed a coach who could do the long haul. At that time, I think Otto had taken us to the World Cup. He came, he said he had a contract with Dortmund, went back. So he's been brought back to try and build long-term. So if you look at the long-term vision, I think we need that consistency. But football is also about results. And so, but where we are now, where we have, in a few months, I think 3 months, we have 2 crucial games against Chad, home and away, I believe, to try and qualify for the World Cup. I don't believe this is the time for that change. But it's also a call for Otto and the technical team to really take a mirror and look in what are the things that are not going right, because I don't get it.
This is Hits.
Let's hear from Otto Addo himself. He says that Ghanaians should move on from the failure to qualify for the African Cup of Nations and focus on the World Cup qualification, which returns in March 2025. According to him, if Ghanaians want to see the Black Stars in the FIFA World Cup, they should throw their weight behind the team. And if we do not want to see the Black Stars participate in the Mundial, then we can continue to criticize the team.
Let me first ask the second question. I think this is part of the job. I knew what I was about to expect when I took this job. This is part of the job. It's kind of normal. I grew up in Germany in an environment with a lot of white people, a lot of racists, a lot of hatred. And for me, I went through a lot in my life, a lot to be a professional football player. I worked a lot, and it was the same as a coach. As a coach, it's you Germany. I'm the only black person in the whole system there as a coach. So I always have to fight my way through. So it doesn't affect me, to be honest, because I went to so much. I know where I'm coming from, and so for me, it's all about to protect the players. It's all about the players, for them to get better, for them to learn out of these things. And to the second question, to the first question, what happened? I tried to sum it up. I think the base in these qualifiers are the home games, and I wished we would have played bad but won anyhow. But to be honest, we played well, but we were lacking scoring goals. And I think it's a complex thing. It's maybe more psychological. Surely there was a lot of hatred coming from outside against me, against maybe the team, and yeah, I can just ensure you that I think in all, sometimes it affects the players, and we need support. That's all. If all of you want Ghana to win, we are very down now. If you don't want us to go to World Cup, then you can continue and then you can hammer on us, okay? But if you really want us to go to World Cup, we need support. That's all I can say.
That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to the Showbiz segment with me, Jacqueline Ansuma Yepwa. Well, to our first story, it's been a historic weekend for Nigeria on the global stage. Chidinma Adesina, the 23-year-old beauty queen, has etched her name in the sands of time as the first Nigerian to become the first runner-up at the Miss Universe competition. Her trailblazing performance at the 73rd edition of the pageant marks Nigeria's best ever finishing. We have more in this report.
The top 5 included Miss Mexico in 3rd place, as well as contestants from Thailand and Venezuela. Despite enduring online harassment over a Nigerian route, Chidinma turned criticism into strength, sparking conversations about inclusivity and acceptance. From turning heads to making history, Chidinma Adesina proved that beauty isn't just skin deep. It's about courage, grace, and smashing barriers. Jacqueline Ansuma's report read to you.
Well, away from that, back home, Ghana's rap doctor Ochame Kwame is tuning into a different beat. While the artist, known for his clever wordplay and smooth rap flow, says he switched gears from rapping to singing. In an interview on Daybreak Hits on Hits FM, Ochame Kwame says that he wants to evolve as a creative.
Love. Is it nature's trick to ensure continuity? What is love?
As one of Ghana's pioneering rappers, Ochame Kwame earned his Rap Doctor title through decades of memorable verses and lyrical skill, becoming a household name and a leader in Ghanaian hip-hop. But now, he's embracing his versatility, switching to singing as part of his ongoing creative journey. In an interview on Daybreak Hits on Hits FM, Ochame explained his switch.
I keep saying, when I die, I want my tombstone to say, this man died empty. I don't want to go with me into my grave with any single idea. So you see that I've written a book, I have written prose, I've written poems, I have written stage plays. Every single thing in me that is a creative, essence, I want to put it out. So if I put out rap music and I have conquered that area, I'm done. I'm going to do something else. I'll try singing.
His versatility knows no bounds. Beyond his usual bars and beats, he's been busy tackling social issues through his music. Inspired by the ongoing discussions about illegal mining, known locally as Galamsey, Ochame released a new track titled #StopGalamseyNow. In an interview on Daybreak Hits, he revealed what inspired that song.
Environmental conversation in my country is Galamsey. So how am I a climate change ambassador? Talking about sequestrations and emissions and methane and this and 1.5 and Celsius, and the thing under my nose, I'm quiet about it. I would have been a hypocrite. So I was just trying to get the right information to do it. What inspired me to write was on the Ghana Art and Science Academy. They wrote their reasons why they think that Galamsey of all sorts should be stopped.
And who does Ghana's rap doctor admire in the rap scene? Ochame gave a shout out to his favorite Ghanaian rappers, Flo Kingston and EL, showing that as he explores new sounds, he still has an ear for the best in Ghanaian rap.
My favorite rappers in Ghana of all time is Flo Kingston and EL.
Ochame Kwame's journey from rap to melody proves he's more than just a rap doctor. He's a musical chameleon, always reinventing himself. Whether he's crafting songs to inspire change or exploring new art forms, Ochame is one artist who's never afraid to take a bold new step. Jacqueline and Somayebo's report, read to you.
Well, it's a wrap for the showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Suma Yaboa. Over to you, MFA. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Always a pleasure to have you. But that's all for today on JoyNews Today with me, MFA Akosia Adeti. There's so much more news on myjoyonline.com. Thank you. Bye.